back in Argentina, you have to study 3 years. You have 3 years at school, at the maritime school. By the time you finish with those 3 years, you have to go on board for 1 whole year. Some of the problems we have there is that for 3 years you don't have any kind of notion of how you're gonna feel on board while you're going to be on board. You don't have that much of experience. I know lately the cadets are getting on board like 10 to 20 days during those 3 years. So it's a very short period of time. You don't get to experience the whole thing, but at least you have an idea. For me, that wasn't like that. And getting on board, having the first cadetship wasn't easy, but the school has a good program that they have several companies that are willing to hire cadets from this school. So if you make kind of a good qualifications, you have a good appraisal in the school, you get to choose the company you want to go. There is kind of a short list of ships and a larger list of cadets waiting to get on board. That's why it's convenient to get the highest qualification as you can. And then once you choose the company will interview first, and after if you pass the interview, you'll get on board. To me, it was like that. I've been interviewed by this cruise ship company, and we were 10 of us, something like that, and that's how I got hired. I didn't have I wasn't in the top 10, let's say, of cadets, but I made like a good interview with the company, and that's why they chose me to go. I've been one of the first to go. Then the rest of my partners were as well. But I think the having prepare yourself for the interview is the key when you need to choose a company and you need to present to a company and get the job.
And to put a little bit of perspective to this, I went to school in Denmark. I'm from Denmark, so here things are usually a little different. We instead of having 3 years like Alan in Argentina, we have usually half a year of school, and then we have half a year of cadetship time, sailing time, to get some experience, where you then go back to school for about 1.5 years, depending on some factors, and get another load of theory. Then you do another 6 to 9 months of cadetship to get your last time, so you have a total of 365 days. And then in the end, you have a little bit of school left to get your final schooling, basically. So all of this from both our experiences is to say that the path can look very different for people, and there's not a right or a wrong path. It's more about knowing what you have and knowing the advantages of your position. And then maybe if you get rejected somewhere, or for example, if you have to do your 3 years of school first, that can be good in many ways. You can also you also start your cadetship later, so you're a more mature person by then. I know many people from my school who dropped out after the first cadetship period because they found out this really wasn't for them, even though it kind of was for them. They tell me later on, because I've known them for a while now, but they just weren't ready mentally, or they feel like the officers expected too much of them. So there's also an element of being ready for the cadetship. So there's a good and bad for both situations, really. You just have to find out what situation you're in and then kind of make the best of that.
There are certain things you cannot change, and you need to deal with it and do the best. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it was these 3 years of school before going on board, because you have a good knowledge of the things, the systems, even though in certain ships it changed a lot. So I would prefer your system, but also probably if I would get on board in my first year, as you mentioned, probably I would quit or something, because I was, I don't know, 18 years old by that time. Probably was going to be a hard experience, I don't know. So how was for you to get your first ship? You had to move yourself to get these companies, like to find the contacts. How did you manage to get interviewed by a company?
In the early days was going on LinkedIn and looking for the specific people I wanted to be, basically, meaning um back when I wanted to work on the big super yacht, when I did is I literally searched for super yacht captain in LinkedIn, and then
Mm-hmm.
from there we kind of came uh, to some results from some different captains. I added them on LinkedIn, kind of told them my situation, and my observation is really every time you actually genuinely ask someone for help, not trying to get anything from them, you're just trying to get their opinion, trying to get their advice, anything. If you actually ask people for help, I would say everyone who actually reads your message wants to help you. Everyone wants to be a good person and help the next generation of people or just people in general. So that really helped. And my message was basically just, yeah, texting my situation and uh, what I wanted to do, what kind of my plan was. And I really tried to look for people who were ideally from my country, because at least in this industry, much depends specifically on which country you're from, if that's good or not. I mean, you can debate that all day, of course, but every country has very small little adjustments for their own cases. So talking to someone from your own country, preferably still uh, relatively young, maybe because they uh, have gone through sort of the same system you're going to go through. That really gives you like a good picture of what to expect, and they can really give you a good outline. So if you start writing to them, and then one of the captains actually just immediately suggested that we go on a phone call, and that phone call lasted for 60 or 90 minutes, I think. But if like in most cases they don't offer that immediately, then you just kind of steer towards that. So you ask a question, they answer, and then you say you have some more questions, and if they're open to talk about it, so you could kind of save them time on doing that. So it also makes sense for them, instead of them having to type all the answers, they can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, yeah, just going on a phone call, having some questions ready. So some of those questions could really depending on your situation, but now specifically for getting a job, it could be kind of what their prior experience was, meaning what kind of experience they have before going into this company, whether that be one, other ships, which of course is like the main one, or two, kind of the work experience they had through high school, or maybe they had something between high school and going to maritime school, like the work experience they use, if they're open to do it, send their application material. I think all of those things can really not be the end all be all solution, but they can help you make your application better than it would have been otherwise. You don't lose anything from talking to more people. And best case, even you may find someone who knows someone in the office and on the onshore organization who can get you a foot in the door, or someone you can talk to, someone you can actually get in touch with before, and that really helps. And I also know for that company specifically, on the application form online, there was a phone number from the head recruiter. So the people who just applied, of course, but the people who actually thought for a second realized they could get access to the actual person reviewing their applications. So why not call to that person, and first thing after you send the application, make sure that they got it. So ask if they got the application, then quickly talk about the company, not just about yourself. At least in my opinion, I would, as a recruiter, again, looking for perspective, I would be kind of annoyed if someone just came in to sell themselves on a call. So really, really showing interest in the company, really again showing why they should choose you. And then at some point you can talk about yourself, just really get like a good first impression of a person, have some some basic friendship, you could call it, between you and the recruiter, compared to all the other people who just send their application. Because of course, the recruiter for the applications, they see your name. You of course said your name in the call because you're smart, and then they already have your name linked to you, who was nice enough to call and actually care about the company, and that puts you 10,000 kilometers ahead of all other people, even if you have less experience, even if you're younger, even if you're introverted. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you in your head tell yourself would stop you from getting the position you want to. But most of the things, just doing more preparation and actually trying to be professional, do a good job, answer questions sincerely, watch out grammar, speak slowly and clearly. all of these things, they weigh so much, and nowadays many people just forget the basics, and that's really something you can use to your advantage.
Some of the ways I also tried was even chatting or finding these profiles through Instagram. I on the social media there are many captains, officers. Myself, I find sometimes I have messages from cadets or people who are just starting on this. They are asking me, "Hey, do you have a contact? How can I get a job?" And sometimes I send them emails of companies I know, so it's a very easy way to also to get a contact from someone who's already working on that company. If you find sometimes, as you said, they are willing to help people, I mean, it doesn't change anything to me if I give you a phone number or an email that is public, of course, and yeah, you can find your job that way. Also, don't get only with one time I send an email to this company, just do it. Wait, I don't know, 15 days, send another email, and 3 months later, another email. That's how I got my job on the dredgers. They were the first time I sent a CV. First of all, I found the email and the WhatsApp numbers of the hiring officers. Uh, through a person I met that he was already working on this dredger company. So he passed me the contacts. I sent the emails, no replies. Then I sent again, like 2 months later. The reply was, "We have all the positions covered." And then 2 months later, again and again and again and again, because they are receiving emails all the time, and you need to be in their mind. Like, this guy just sent me an email. They will not look for you because you sent an email 6 months ago. So I think that's another thing. Just keep pushing, keep sending emails. No one will block you because you sent an email. And also check the time. Probably if you are sending the email from Argentina to a company who is in Germany, probably I don't know, the evening from here will be a good time because it will be the first in the morning, the first hours in the morning there, but not in the morning here because the office will close. And by the time he opens, the whoever has to get your email, he has 20 emails and also yours. So also find out that good time to send these emails.
The main wisdom she really gave me, number one, was kind of how you can show the company that you're a good fit for them. But the thing I focused on in my first application was kind of uh telling my life story about how this was meant to be and how this company was perfect for me and all of that. And that sounded great in my head, but the company doesn't look for people, let's say, who where the seafarer thinks they're good for the company. At least that's a bonus, of course. You also have to display why you are good for the company compared to different people who also want to be in that company. So what I did for my next company was kind of structuring my entire motivational letter and even CV to some extent around highlighting the company how I could be valuable to them, how I would be able to stick with them long term, how I was growth oriented, how I always wanted to complete tasks and not do half measures. So it was really that transition from thinking about myself really because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to get my first job, of course, my first real career job. Um, to yeah, kind of thinking in the eyes of a company and kind of seeing what they really wanted in a seafarer. So that was kind of the main mental transition that I made.
Yeah, I think that's one of the
Yeah.
keys when you get interviewed by a company to show that you are useful for them. And also as a cadet, if you go as an apprentice officer, let's say, they want to hear that you are willing to make a career on your company because for the company it's an investment that they are doing on you. For example, to me, going to the cruise ships, I think a lot of cadets, probably from other parts of the world, I wouldn't say Argentina, but I know some of them, they will go thinking that there are parties and it's a good life. You get to travel the world, and also all the ports are touristic ports, so it's like the best life you could have. The reality is not exactly like that, and the company doesn't want to see that on you. They want to see that you really want to become a professional and get to become an officer on their company and make a career. They're investing on you, so later on they can have good bridge officers, captains, whatever. But they don't want people who come aboard and having the experience they were looking for and quit or swap to another ship. So I think that that's a good point to show to the companies. I did it also on my interview with this company. I tried to search for a little bit of the information, the systems they have on board, the technologies. So I spoke a little bit with this fleet captain who interviewed me about these systems, and I also tried to show that I wanted to make a career with them. I think that's one of the keys that got the gave me the job.
Yeah, that's great. I really think the key word you mentioned there was professionalism,
Mm-hmm.
because that is definitely like the one thing I would say they're looking for the most. Um, Also, not just saying that you want to be a maritime professional or that you are professional, but also showing in your actions. I mean, small things as when a company messages you, that you message back as quickly as possible, that you have even something as something as simple as a serious email address. It doesn't look like it was written by a 6-year-old. Things
Mm-hmm.
like presenting yourself at the interview, which we get into. Things like just the way you write, the way you talk, making sure there's no grammar errors. I know way too many people who just wrote their CV in such a haste that like even a 10-year-old could see that there's grammar errors inside. So there's just so many easily avoidable mistakes that you can make. And you can tell the company you are professional as much as you want, but if you show something else, then the company's never going to believe you. And people always say actions speak louder than words, and I think especially in this case, you really have to live up to the standards you think a company holds you to, and the standards you want to like show about yourself.
Yeah, somehow you need to make a difference because there will be so many applicants there. Like the people on the office probably they get many emails, and somehow you need to make a difference. So they point at you and not the others. Even though sometimes if they are looking for that position, they will interview many or most of them. Uh, but I think one of the priorities is to give a good email, a good CV, and getting spend some time on it before you send any kind of email.